Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to game number 2 of Ernst & Young versus IBM. We saw IBM's Zai take a very strong, crushing victory in game number 1, and it's gonna be up to his teammate Andy to take it back. Andy, of course, one of the strongest members on Team Ernst & Young. He has a very interesting Protoss style, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and go into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alkaline Wastes. Of course, Alkaline Wastes, a new map in Heart of the Swarm, featuring 4 Xel'Naga watchtowers, collapsible rock tower at the third, or potential third anyway. You can take this as a natural, and this is a third if you'd like. And overall, it just makes for an interesting map that I think, we haven't seen this so far in the After Hours Gaming League, but I think what we'll start to see on this map is very long macro games. It's very easy to defend your side of the map and get a lot of vision of what's going on. Now, we're just checking for any sort of shenanigans before we go into the introductions. Let's go ahead and go into the introductions, ladies and gentlemen. Up here, in the top left-hand corner, we have the very handsome red Protoss representing Team Ernst & Young. He is Andy. And down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran representing Team IBM. He is Great Archon. Has the nice archer symbol there for his logo, as you can get those in Heart of the Swarm now. Very, very awesome. Of course, repairing the SCV so that the probe harassed is not successful. This probe's going to have to move it and groove it unless he wants to get destroyed by that SCV, and he indeed does. It looks like it's going to be a 1 gateway expand, or perhaps some sort of pressure build here from Andy, but everything looking very standard here for a Protoss player. And it looks like our Great Archon wants to go for what I believe is a reactored Hellion expand into some sort of Hellbat play. This is what we typically see from the Terran these days. Now, of course, you can make Reapers without the Tech Lab, ladies and gentlemen. So the Reaper is going to come out first here for Great Archon. Give him a bit of scouting information, and perhaps he can do some harassment with that Reaper. A very interesting opening that you could do here in Heart of the Swarm. Now, look at this. The engineering bay block is down. That means it's going to be just so much more annoying for Andy. Andy going up to the 400 mineral mark at the moment. He's going to realize real quick that that is being blocked, and yes, he's going to go ahead and drop those extra minerals down somewhere. When did he drop those down? I believe he, oh yes, he put that into this, the mothership core. The mothership core now just finishing up, and a couple of more probes on the way, pylon on the way. That mothership core, ooh, very nice timing with the mothership core. Going to be able to drive the Reaper off. The Reaper, he's going to have to go hang out at a Xel'Naga watchtower, and this mothership core is going to be able to very quickly dispatch with that engineering bay. So it might take a while with that insane amount of health it has. Nice delay out here from Great Archon. Archon really understanding how the Protoss build orders work in Heart of the Swarm. Now, he is going to sneak by. Is he going to be able to get some worker kills? Answer may be no, because the Stalker is here in the main, while the mothership core is still continuing to work on that engineering bay. Now, Reapers do heal by themselves over time, so they're going to go hang out maybe at a Xel'Naga watchtower. There we go. Up to 3 Reapers now, trying to get one-shots on those probes up here. If you can get in the base, there are, of course, 2 Stalkers and the mothership core on the map. It's going to be very difficult for these Reapers to get in the base. And he is going to scout out a scouting probe, and he's going to be able to take that down quite easily. That probe will get smashed, and that will deny any sort of scouting information from our Protoss player. Great Archon moving his Reapers up here. He's going to try to sneak into the base. Will our Protoss player react? He does not know. He's going to be able to get at least one more probe kill. Mothership Core is not quite quick enough. He's going to be able to get, one more kill and a very, very nice overcharge there on the Nexus. I always feel like Proton Overcharge is way too many syllables to fit in your mouth. I think I might just start calling it Overcharge. The Reaper here, he is going to have to head back home. And I'd like to see him take this Xel'Naga Watchtower right here in the middle of the map so he can see what's going on. Just for, yeah, he's going to go ahead and move it out there. There we go. Great Archon. Reading my mind, reading my thoughts before I can even say them. And this Observer, man, that's giving Andy so much information. He can see troop movements, everything that's going on in the map. Now, 1-1 is going to be, or at least 1, is going to be going up for Great Archon. And unfortunately, it is not going to be some sort of Hellion expand. He is just simply going to be going with Bio and then now teching up with the factory. Is he going to switch this tech lab out is the question, and start producing siege tanks. Missile turret going down just to give him a little bit more safety from any sort of warp prism or observers or any sort of shenanigans that the Protoss can pull at this point, especially with the amazing Stargate tech that Protoss has at this point in the game. Of course, Great Archon really has no idea what's going on in terms of tech in Andy's base, besides the robotics facility. So it is going to be Colossus tech. Extended Thermal Lance is going to come up next. He's going to go ahead and scan this. He does see that the army is quite small, so no aggression going to be coming out of Andy anytime soon. Marauders and Concussive Shells is going to be coming up, so it is going to be a very bio-heavy play, and the reactor is going to be going down the factory. So it's going to be a pretty late Hellbat drop here. The armory is going down as well for the Hellbats. And a very bio-heavy play here from our Terran player. Now, this feels Widow Mines as well. Double Widow Mines coming out. Now, this could be some sort of tricksy shenanigans, trying to lure some of the Protoss units out onto the map and destroy them with the Widow Mines. But these observers are already out on the map, man. I don't know if the Widow Mines at this point in the game are going to really work out for him unless he's extra sneaky with them. Andy, of course, balling all of his units up into the typical Protoss death ball. And if he keeps this observer with his army, he'll be very, very safe. Oh, actually missing the probe here. There we go. He's going to get that probe. But that probe was able to see that Archon was taking his third, so let's see if Andy anticipates that. Is he going to go for more army, or is he going to go ahead and try to go for the third? Here. Is it a fake out from Great Archon? There are mind games going on right now in this game, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be somewhat of a fake out. Andy is going to go ahead and take the Xel'Naga Watchtower. He is going to see this army coming, though. Oh, Andy. Andy knows what's up. He sees the aggression coming. I do not think he saw the Widow Mines, but that may not even matter because he has this observer with the army. He's got 2 Colossus already out on the map, and Colossus, man, are really good against bio. It doesn't even matter that these Marauders have concussive shells. Stem is almost done. A nice timing there on the Stem. The combat shield is going to be done in about 30 seconds. And these Widow Mines, even though they're buried out here, as long as our Protoss player is careful with his observers, he's going to be able to see what's going on. I would really like to see these Widow Mines buried like back here behind the minerals. I think that would be a little of a smarter location for them. But nonetheless, trying to catch the probes while they're transferring to the third may be smart. And oh yes, he's going to see them. These Widow Mines are going to be toast. There we go. He is going to be able to get one probe with them, but that's going to be it. Those Widow Mines are toast. Now, Great Archon going ahead and expanding to the third at the same time that Andy is expanding to his, although Andy is just now warping in the Nexus, and the command center here is already created. The orbital command ready to rock and roll and drop down 1 billion mules, which is what we should see right away from Great Archon. Let's see, checking out his energy. Yeah, there go the mules. He's going to go ahead and grab the sensor tower here. Nice choice. That's going to give him a little bit more information on the map. Of course, there are these Zelno watchtowers that he could go ahead and take if he'd like to. We're going to go into a heavy macro game here with the aggression from our Terran player failing at this point. Zealot charge is going up, and 1-1 is going up for our Protoss player. Meanwhile, we already have Vikings coming out on the map, but 4 Vikings is not going to be enough against 3 Colossus, especially with a number of Stalkers out on the map, especially if Andy decides to warp even more Stalkers in here. So, oh, and Storm on the map here in just a bit as well. It's all the upgrades all the time right now for our Protoss player. And the Terran player, he's got to play it really safe. He's got to, you know, kind of overbuild Vikings right now because he has no idea what our Protoss player is doing. The Protoss player could be going for a ton of Colossus, and he just needs enough Vikings to deal with it. That's one of the difficult parts about this part in the game, ladies and gentlemen, is that, you know, if you're Protoss, you get to dictate what the fight is. You get to say, well, I want Immortals or I want Colossus, and you can do sort of tech shenanigans if you have outscouted your Terran opponent. Great Archon with only 4 Vikings here. That's not going to be able to take those guys down. And Hellbats are a bio unit, ladies and gentlemen, so they are light, and they do die very, very, very quickly to Archons and to Colossus, which is exactly what we have here. And of course the Zealots here with charge, man. That's just very devastating. Now these rocks are going to go down, but it's going to give our Protoss player enough time to react. He is going to get an extra warp in, a huge number of Stalkers coming in, and that's going to, he's going to be able to target down those Vikings. Vikings go down, huge storm going down. The Terran player takes a huge amount of damage, and he's going to have to heal up everything. That's going to take up every bit of energy on these medevacs here. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an incredible engagement for a Protoss player. A Protoss player looking so strong in his defense right now. Now, if I was the Terran player right now, I would go back home, expand, and play defensively. He is definitely at a disadvantage right now. Only 3 Vikings remain over here, and it looks like, let's take a look at the Colossus count. 3 Colossus out on the map right now. There's a 4th in production, however, which we'll be completing very soon. So he's going to need a huge number of Vikings to deal with this. And it's just all bio all the time from Great Archon, aside from the Vikings. Of course, the Hellbats can go back to being Hellions, but they're going to die. This insane wall and crazy storms going down. A huge loss for our Terran opponent. Those lasers just cutting Great Archon into pieces, losing absolutely everything. Another storm going down on all of the Marauders. The Marauders down to almost no health. Yet another storm is going to take him down in a feedback. Oh my god, Andy has his opponent on the run, and Andy looking so strong right now. And at the same time, actually, a warp in here with the Warp Prism. Going to go ahead and get a few kills there with the Zealots. That is going to be cleaned up by the units at home. See how many workers killed. 12 workers killed so far in this game. A very nice exchange for our Protoss opponent. And our Protoss player, Andy, from Ernst & Young, this is what he needs to keep his team in this fight right now, ladies and gentlemen. If Ernst & Young, again, if they lose this series, then they only have the wild card to keep them in the running. They are pretty much out of the playoffs if they lose this series. So Andy showing his team what they need to do to stay in this fight. Now I love this. Look at this. Only 2 Zealots going around to get control of the vision on the map, and that is just beautiful. It's only 200 minerals, and and it even spends some of Great Archon's attention. Look at this. He's spending some of his APM trying to keep this Reaper alive, and meanwhile Andy is just having a heyday trying to prevent the vision on the map. while he has this observer, and he can see everything that's going on. No ravens on the map, of course, for Great Archon, so he has no idea about this observer. But the entire army here for Great Archon is now up here. He has no idea. What if there was, you know, a warp prism coming into the side here or something like that? That could be just absolutely devastating for Great Archon right now. That's why he needs this vision. Going ahead and taking that watchtower again. But look at this. He's not doing his due diligence. There are 4 watchtowers on the map, and Andy holds 2 of the most important ones. Look at that vision from Andy, just holding everything on the map. Being able to see everything that's going on. He knows where this attack is coming. And he has his army positioned perfectly. Look at this. 5 Colossus already in the mix. Let's take a look at the Viking count. Vikings, only 5 Vikings. That is not nearly enough Vikings to deal with this. Only 1 siege tank. That's not enough to be able to hold a position. Our Terran player, he's going to be in a world of hurt if he's not able to get enough Vikings on the map. He is going to catch this warp prism, however. That's a nice catch for our Terran player, but it might be only a tiny hurrah for what he needs to do a huge fight. Going ahead, ooh, nice EMPs going down there. Oh, missed an EMP, and a huge storm, more huge storms going down. The Protoss player destroying our Terran player. Great Archon is getting completely routed right now. 5 Colossus in the mix, just doing so much damage. He does need to target down these Vikings before they take down the Colossus, but the Colossus are just living for way too long. And actually, even with just this tiny amount of Stalkers, I believe that's 5 Stalkers, he's going to be able to take out those Vikings and continue this attack. Oh my gosh, this could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Great Archon is actually in a lot of trouble. He is on 4 bases, however. Taking a quick look at the resourcing before we get into another huge fight. The main is mined out. The natural is practically mined out, so mining only on 2 bases. Meanwhile, Andy, he's got a 5th coming up, and he's mining still on his natural and here as well. So he's going to have 4 mining bases very quickly here, ladies and gentlemen. Andy looking really strong right now, and I believe he may have saw that SCV go up there, so he knows about the 5th, I believe, of Great Archon. So he knows he has to do something before Great Archon catches up with him resource-wise. Quick look at the resourcing. Oh my gosh, the Protoss player. His income is more than double of our Terran player. He's going to go ahead and put pressure on the 3rd. Now there is a Widow Mine here, and there is no observer with the army. So that Widow Mine could do... Oh, there is an observer with the army. Ha-ha! Andy has already outthought me, ladies and gentlemen. And that's just a really narrow choke, so he wants to fight on the other side of that choke. He wants to wait for the Terran army to engage him. There are still not nearly enough Vikings here to deal with the huge number of Colossus. I believe, what is that, 6 Colossus now on the map? 9 Colossus on the map. Whoa. I have no idea where the other Colossus are, but there are 9 Colossus on the map, ladies and gentlemen. There are just not nearly enough Vikings here in production, and Great Archon, he's got to realize that, man. This is not nearly enough Vikings to deal with that gigantic number of Colossus. Terran player kind of moving out, and of course, our Protoss player just has way too much vision on the map. He knows everything that's going on. He's going to go ahead and engage in this choke. Just a huge number of Colossus storms going down, storming his own Zealots, but he doesn't even care because he can just kill absolutely everything. The siege tank, however, is wrecking havoc, and actually there's not enough Stalkers here to take out those Vikings, so this is actually kind of a huge loss for our Protoss player. He's going to have to get these Colossus out of here, or he's going to lose all of them. That's a huge loss for our Protoss player, but even so, our Protoss player is far ahead on the resourcing right now, and our Terran player, even though he took out a huge number of those Colossus, he didn't, you know, oh my gosh, he's going to lose these medevacs. He's got to get them out of here. Oh my gosh, that was a gigantic loss right there, losing every single medevac. Great Archon. A big mistake there, losing a huge number of medevacs. That could have cost him the game right there. He almost, you know, he almost was back in this game, killing all of those Colossus, and really kind of slowing down the next attack of Andy, kind of giving him the ability to get back into the game, but he lost all those medevacs, man. I don't know if he can come back from this now. 3 more Colossus in production, a disgusting number of Colossus moving out on the map. Andy knows how to counter Bio, and it's with Colossus, that's for sure. He's going to meet up with these High Templar, a large number of High Templar over here. They do not have storms yet, not quite enough energy, but in just 3 seconds, here we go, 2, 1, oh, and not enough time. The storms are going to go down, but a nice EMP keeps that from happening, and Great Archon actually takes a nice little skirmish here in the middle of the map as this game drags out longer and longer and goes out to a giant macro game. Of course, our Protoss player doing very well. Taking a quick look at the income, almost 2,000 income for a Protoss player, while our Terran player is struggling at 1,300 income, and of course that's with mules as well, ladies and gentlemen. '84 probes on the map, 66 SCVs. And this is where your Terran player really starts orbital commands and just starts throwing down a ton of mules, being able to max out on other things. But if you take a look at the resourcing, it's only 176 supply. Our Terran player is having a lot of trouble maxing out on his supply. And rightfully so. He lost all of those medevacs. He had to rebuild all of them. And that means he couldn't rebuild Vikings. So taking a look at the Viking count, only 5 Vikings on the map. Meanwhile, 6 Colossus on the map again. Our Protoss player just staying far ahead, and here comes the army for our Protoss player, but it might not be here in time. Terran's player has a nice timing here on this base, and here we go, a huge number of Zealots going to move in. Those are really effective against the Marauders. The Colossus coming in here, and a nice EMP is going to catch a couple of those Colossus, but it's not going to be able to do enough damage. Great Archon is going to have to get out of here. There are enough Stalkers in this mix as well to keep those Vikings back. He is going to get a couple of the Ghosts. That is a very, very nice play there. He's going to get him into this choke. Now, this is a really bad place to engage, and the Protoss player wisely disengages. But a huge storm goes down. That's going to do so much damage. Those Vikings, every single one, went down either to the red or to the orange health. A couple of them died there, and that's just going to use up so much energy on these medevacs. They need that energy for the fights, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable that just a couple of storms can do that if you're in the wrong position, and this is why Bio in the late game, especially if you don't have the siege tanks that you need with your army, is so dangerous. Now, you're more mobile, but it's just so hard to be so mobile and to multitask against a Protoss death ball like this. Now the Protoss, he's going to go in here, he's going to try to deny this base. The Terran player, he's scrambling, gonna have to go and attack this from the back. Can he get a Colossus? Yes, he's gonna go ahead and get one Colossus. The Protoss player is gonna have to engage. A bad engagement for a Protoss player, but huge storms coming down, just wiping out absolutely everything. Doing a ton of damage, and those charge lots are just able to tank so much. He was gonna lose so much there, ladies and gentlemen. He does lose another Colossus, but at this point, it almost doesn't even matter. It's 183 supply to 90, and the resources for our Terran player is just falling off the cliff right now. And a GG, well played, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what an incredible match there. Definitely one of my favorite matches so far in After Hours Gaming League. IBM's Great Archon versus Andy. Andy showing us just how strong Protoss can be when you put everything together in a giant death ball, and just making an insane number of Colossus. I believe on one point on the map there are 9 Colossus out on the map. And, you know, Great Archon showing us a really interesting style, all bio, especially with the Hellbats. But I believe that when you go for that sort of bio style, you have to have a number of drops on the map. You have to have a lot of multitasking going on in order to keep your opponent occupied. And I think that would have worked. But Great Archon, he just simply wasn't able to keep up. And ultimately, Andy was able to out-macro him and just bring down the dragon, down his third, and just ultimately ended up wiping him out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, we're going to go into Game 3. Andy from Ernst & Young is keeping IBM in the game, or excuse me, keeping Ernst & Young in the game. Can Ernst & Young take it back and win this match to stay in the playoffs? We'll see in game number 3 coming up next.